Yes! Yes! Oh my goodness. Yes.
In today's video, we're going to review this rebound pass shot goal, break down how it was executed, explore the science behind it, and learn how to replicate it successfully in a game. So let's dive right in and analyze this incredible play.
Part 1. The concept of the goal. This top player hits the ball into the wall, then the ball rebounds on the wall, then this Bobble, who was far there, comes to finish the pass into the goal, as you can see in this clip. And voila, goal we have. That's basically it for the concept of the goal. Part 2. Building up theory on how to replicate it. Chapter 1. Finding a scale. In order to accurately calculate the distance on the field, our initial approach would involve the use of a scale, because relying on pixels or centimeters from game recordings may prove to be unreliable, as the size of the screen can vary. As you can see, if I change the window size, the value changed from 10.5 centimeters to 7.7 centimeters, or from 308 pixels to 293 pixels. Therefore, it is crucial to establish a measurement that remains consistent regardless of the recording. To address this, I came up with the idea of using the distance between the left bottom bumper and upper right bumper as definition to our scale, assigning it a value of 100 units. This way, we can establish a reliable and consistent reference point for measuring distances on the field. For example, let's test the measurement of the distance that this down Bobble travels. Initially, we conducted this test in full screen mode of the video, and obtained a measurement of 42 units. Now, we will repeat the test in window mode to see if the measurement remains consistent. Of course, the result remains unchanged at 42 units, just as before. That's the point of using the scale. Chapter 2. Measuring the distances. Using the previous scale, we measured the distance traveled by both the downward Bobble and the total distance covered by the ball. It's important to mention that we measured the distance traveled by the right point of the ball, as it is the point of impact at the end. Also, the recording doesn't capture the precise moment when the Bobble touches the ball, leaving me to make an educated guess based on the two closest frames. The distance results are 41.6 units for the Bobble and 19.7 plus 8, which totals 27.7 units for the ball. Therefore, there is a difference of 13.9 units in the distance. Now, let's examine how this discrepancy translates in the field. Surprisingly, all this distance is lost in the ball's path. In the following chapter, we will delve into the reasons behind this disparity.
Chapter 3. Reasons behind distance difference. In this chapter, we delve into the underlying factors contributing to the variation in distances. To do so, we will see how much distance is traveled by the ball and the Bobble doing the shot every 40 milliseconds, and compare the results. Note that I used a different program to measure so that the results are more precise. And then after transforming the values into our scale, here are the final results. So what we did was measuring the distance traveled between each two frames recorded. As you see here, there are 21 frames being recorded each at 40 milliseconds. For example, as you can see here, frame number 1, it refers to the distance traveled between frame 0 and 1. So here you see frame 0, and this is frame 1. The distance traveled from here to here is this distance for the Bobble, and as you can see for the ball, the distance traveled is 0 because the Bobble didn't hit the ball yet, as you can see. And then from frame 1 to frame 2, the Bobble was here, and then he traveled to here. Let's see in the sheet the distance he traveled. It's this one, 2.41 in our unit. We did this for all the frames. And so the total distance traveled by the Bobble is 43.86, and the total distance traveled by the ball is 27.82. And then we measured the difference between the distance traveled by the Bobble and ball. For example, for frame 1, the Bobble traveled 1.11 and ball 0, so 1.11 minus 0 is 1.11, and we did this for all the frames. And then we also did that for the total distance difference, meaning the total distance traveled by the Bobble minus the total distance traveled by the ball, and we got 16.04 in our unit. This is the distance difference between how long the Bobble traveled compared to the ball. Our goal is knowing from where this 16.04 unit distance difference is coming from. What's the reason it's not equal distance? So to do so, we measured the speed of the Bobble and the ball at each frame. So how to calculate speed? Speed is simply the distance traveled between two frames divided by the time it took, which is 40 milliseconds since that's the time between each two frames. For example, for frame number 1, we divided 1.11 by 40 milliseconds and got this 0.03 speed in terms of our unit per millisecond. After we have calculated the speed of all frames for the bobble, we did the same for the speed of the ball as well. To make significance from the speed, we trace this graph showcasing the speed at each frame. The blue tracing is the bobble speed and the red is the ball speed. What's a bit confusing is that it varies a lot and not constantly accelerating or decelerating in a smooth line. If I were to explain this phenomena, there are a few theories in mind. One of them is that it might be that the frames of Bobble League aren't reliable. As you can see, for example, between the third and fourth frame the bobble traveled a lot, and then in next frame it advanced less, and then again it travels more in next frame, and then less and then more. It's inconsistent as you can see. But to prove this theory, we'll have to first record the Bobble League game at a very high frame rate, because it might have been just my recording isn't recording the true frames of Bobble League. If you want to explore this in another video, let me know in the comments section.
Now back to our main subject. Why is there distance difference between the bobble and the ball? As you can see in this graph, the bobble speed is always higher than the ball speed at all points of time. In the end, it's nearly the same speed like here or here. That's because the bobble lost speed after some time, but overall still slightly more speedy. Also notice how ball speed is somehow consistent, but the bobble speed only gets lower over time. We can say the main reason for the distance lose is that the bobble speed had more speed than the ball overall, and also need to account that the ball was 40 milliseconds late to be touched. So that's like 2 frame distance lose. Also surprisingly, the rebounding on wall didn't affect much on the ball speed. Also, if you want me to create a video comparing the ball and bobble speed in different settings on how far the bobble hitting the ball is, let me know in the comments section. Not that it matter much, but I also did a graph for the distance difference between bobble and ball. And as you can see at the start, there is more distance lose as the ball was being hit later than the bobble. The graph gradually spikes lower without being much consistent, as we have discussed earlier. There is also one more important thing to explore, but not on this video, as it's already long enough: the distortion in the camera view on Bobble League, as that might affect what's the real distance in the bobble field. For example, as you can see here, the vertical full power arrow isn't equal in distance to the horizontal full arrow. If you want me to explore that in another video as well, let me know in the comments.
That's it for this chapter. We concluded that the main reason is that the bobble had more speed than the ball overall. Now we delve into next chapter that you were all waiting for. No more theory, only actions. To get more of a feel on how to do this shot, I will give 20 more examples of this rebound pass shot on the next chapter. Enjoy!
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are.